is going to come in.
Now we do have GNX and Bubble Kitty. So Bubble Kitty, we saw him lose all these Widowmaker duels. Probably no longer confident. It's going to be GNX to go head-to-head here with Depp.
It makes a little bit more sense as well. GNX is the actual hit scan player here, whereas Bubble Kitty is the projectile player. So possibly
Certainly
now putting
like
on your main Widowmaker player instead of the one that kind of just ended his positioning there. So far, just kind of looking for the first rotation from CAG on the side.
Yeah, they are playing the dive, so they're going to have to look to get right on top of Incipience here on the defense at some point. They don't have the Hog Hook here, so nothing to, well, they don't have the hook to combo the Holt with. They've certainly got a couple of Junkrat grenades if they want to go in that direction. But if you go on top of them, you will have to deal with the shield bash here from Carp on the Brigader.
There's no time to waste, so they got to go on top at some point, and now is better than never. For Incipience, going to stay strong, hold that positioning, use that Fortify from Ambition to maintain that high ground control. Tayo on the backside is going to look for his own flank, but he is pushed out. Meanwhile, the Dep on the front lines to attempt to break through the shield, but CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming are having no luck so far. They at least do start to push Incipience backwards.
Yep, we still see the Orisa, well, not quite yet abandoning her post, but maybe
forcefully
doing
abandoning
that
now.
a little too late there as Sabagod finishes the Orisa off. This does open even more avenues of attack for CAG.
Note that Fearless was put onto no HP basically by Dep there, but not quite technically a death. Bubble Kitty will respond with a Riptire onto Claire, so one of the Mercies will go down. And currently there's 3 members from Incipience stuck inside a corner, and Samurai with the teammate Kimo Hororo will be keen to collect right now. A lot of low members. Cup goes down. Should be a second one to follow at any point here as well. You surely think that Bubble Kitty is not going to survive this onslaught, and suddenly CAG are on the point, but they are not quite done yet. There have been some pretty decent trades coming the other way.
Yeah, now with those last flurry of kills coming through, it does feel like they're probably going to get point A now, and with a couple of ultimates in the bag. This Riptire coming out from Bubble Kitty.
That's a Nope tire. That's an RAP tire, not quite a Riptire this time.
That died before he did.
That seems pretty accurate. CYCLOPS at the gaming now, sitting on 4 ultimates. Could possibly get even 5 or 6 if they're lucky. Incipience not quite as lucky here. Bubble Kitty now swapping onto the Genji in for CAG. This is the most important push. This is the one that can snowball them a victory.
So the Riptire punctured just like Incipience's hopes of getting a solid defense here onto point A. They move back to point B, and they're going to have to deal with this Impresight now, and Tayo coming in on the backside.
Here we go.
That Dragon Blade straight onto the Mercy, and he chases her through the Guardian Angel, but he can't quite get her until she just falls into his arms.
Well, that's the one kill that they really did need. Losing Sabagod is unfortunate. He does get rezzed back in, which is important because now they can use that Transcendence, and they would like to use it to save Dep, but the Resurrection was already used, so 1 DPS gone for CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming. Probably not going to get the full cap. Does get the full cup though, unless they can get a ton more kills, losing their second. Now the support player, both of them in a row. That's probably going to be it for CAG. I was going to say they could hope for 1 tick here. They can realistically maybe get 2 if they're very, very good, but without either support.
Ambition doesn't use the Primal Rage though. He was on there. He could have stalled it out longer. Let's see if this is going to come back to bite them or not. With that 1 self-destruct kill from GNX and the follow-up from Tayo, they're still struggling hard to get that first tick. It looks like it's so close. It could just depend here on the spawns coming up, but a lot of ultimates in the back for Incipience.
Well, we do see now the CAG supports come back into playing for Incipience. The cap hasn't gone through yet. They haven't lost that first tech, so Ambition can now use this Primal Rage once Tayo has also bladed. Doesn't contest him until the end though, not before Xenofly already gets demeched. And currently CAG sitting on top of that rally, sitting on top of a potential Valkyrie soon from Claire. You got to think this could be the push, and this is a continuation from that original attempt from CAG. The 4 remaining members stayed alive long enough for the 2 supports to come in, and now Transcendence is available and Cup is down.
All the ultimates that Incipience had, they're used, they're spent. It's now CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming with that cash in the bank, and they're looking to take it all the way home here. They've got 1 tick coming up so soon if they can finally just get a couple more Incipience members off the point, but they just keep coming back in.
They get more than just a couple here, Juno. 1 tick about to come through the first tick of the game.
Finally.
CAG, but they should be able to get it. Should be a cleanup right now. A lot of ultimates being used. Rally, the second rally coming in from Dep. That's going to be at 321. remaining on to time back. It's not a crazy time back from what we saw in the HKA versus Xavier series, but it doesn't need to be. This is still a full cap out for Cyclops Athlete Gaming. This one they managed to do in 4 minutes and I believe 39 seconds. So
I feel like Ambition not using that Primal Rage there could have been the turning point. It was a very hard decision, right? You kind of think, you know, maybe you've got the chance for your spawns to come back in and be okay there, but the aggression from Cyclops Athlete Gaming, they stay right on top of them. They do manage to get that overwhelming advantage, and rather than perhaps, you know, allowing a couple of extra members to come out at the same time, if you had had the extra 1,000 HP to work with, Ambition comes down and only contributes to the staggers later on.
He did come out though that Primal Rage was still in effect, but especially against a Dragon Blade coming up from the opposite end. And it's one of those things where you look at it in hindsight and you think, well,
we're analysts, mate. That's what we do. We look at things in hindsight.
But at the time, you got to consider double supports down for CAG. Certainly no way for the remaining members to continue the push. There just shouldn't be. The sustain is not there. The healing is not there. And for Incipience with a great respawn advantage, healers up on their side, you got to think, even with Ambition down, the other members should have been able to push CAG out.
I agree, they should have, but and I guess that's what he thought as well. Maybe one extra kill with the Primal Rage and the others coming out at the same time could have been that sort of two-person flip in terms of team v team that might have just allowed Incipience to hold. Doesn't matter, they don't do it. 3 minutes and 21 seconds in the time bank there. 3, 2, 1, easy as that. Now we're going to see CAG on their defense, and they're going to go for that Junkrat Widow here on the defense.
What I can say about the CAG defense is hopefully they will have learned from the past failings on Eichenwalder. Again, we have to go back to that A defense where they lost Claire at the most inopportune time. This time around, though, on Anubis, we'll certainly be looking for a lot more progress, a lot more time off the clock for Incipience's attack.
So now the Monkey's going to go in. We do see the dive right on top of the Orisa, but she's got that Fortify. The Monkey has no such ability to help him out there. He was locked inside his own bubble. Inside his own little personal hell there as Cyclops just lasered him down. So,
and the difference here I want to add is Incipience have not really made a setup for this dive. You look at the way that CAG made their initial dive onto the same A defense. They got Ty around the back, they had Dip waiting in line, and they didn't go until they had the flanks all ready to go themselves. So for Incipience, probably needed to be slightly more patient there.
Yeah, it was a little hopeful, wasn't it? It was a little hopeful, and Tayo is hoping to get a number of kills with this Tayo here. Well, he does. He gets the mech out of Xenofly and also grabs one onto Bubble Kitty. So this will push Incipience back again. And, you know, they've got further time to waste here. The Infrasight will likely see Incipience just wait around for the next 15 seconds.
I do want to say defensive work here has some advantage. Notably, he has the shield to work with from his teammate Samuraida on the Orisa. So for GNX on the attacking side, it is so much more difficult for him to find value.
But a concentrated dive will take him out immediately unless he grapples away. There we go, playing safely.
And immediately looks for GNX. He knows his threat so far. And immediately the rest of CAG go for the tank. So Xenofly is down. Ambition is not the first one down. But Ambition, if he's not careful, will be the second one down. GNX now with a kill onto Collect could swing things back in favor of Incipience. But Transcendence now being used by both teams. Bubble Kitty stepping onto a trap. It's definitely not a good thing to be able to do as a Genji, but they are pushing CAG backwards. First tick was still waiting to come through, but this is a lot of kills.
Yeah, sword beats bongo. It's a different type of rock, paper, scissors that they play over here on Anubis.
But Bubble Kitty doesn't beat Claire.
And Depp beats GNX. That's certainly one thing that's been very consistent throughout this whole night. Jeep, Depp just the better Widow always. Incipience though, they are able to get some ticks on the point here, and Depp is not able to fire through that bubble. He has to wait for it to go down.
And that's given Incipience crucially that first tick of the game, and Tayo actually went down as well, so Ambition did quite a bit of work there. Collects at 33%, also collects himself a kill, and that 1-for-1 trade is going to allow Incipience to have the advantage on respawns.
And you know, Depp, he could have gone around the side here. He knew that Incipience was about to respawn and come back in, but he doesn't think far enough ahead, just relying on his ability to get kills on the point. Luckily, Samuraida and Kenmo Hororo are going to do that for him. The tanks doing a very good job here on the respawn of defending CAG's first point.
Let's see if there's any value can be found from this Dragon Blade, and one so far is good, but Tayo has responded with two, and now Kemo Hororo in Bubble Kitty's face. Grenades flying in from Tayo as well. Dip running away from the remainder, and currently, this is not a good push for Incipience. They are losing so many members, GNX and Fearless, to follow. That one kill they got into Sabagod had been resurrected himself for the Transcendence available for the next defense, and there will only be one more defense required. 30 seconds remain.
Despite getting almost all of the defenders out of the way there, Incipience still can't push through and take point one on Anubis. This is very troublesome for them. They can't get it on this next push, guys.
I'll make my day.
Sorry to say, it won't happen at all. They do see that even in the darkness. They're not going to be tricked by that, but they are going to get one kill to start off this fight.
And then Bubble Kitty not there, not going to get fooled 3 times in a row by the steel trap though. Unfortunately, the Riptide doesn't quite care what Bubble Kitty thinks, and Cup down for the count as well. Doesn't even get to use the Transcendence. Sabagod, though, does get to use his own Fearless with the Resurrection. Might have just saved this push for Incipience because it's allowed Cup to get this Transcendence in now. Very clutch plays, and Bubble Kitty coming back in. Should be able to get a blade if the fight can go long enough, but currently, Incipience did a lot more because they need to allow the time for him to build this play. He finally does get this,
as well,
and he has to just use it straight away onto the back line, and he's down for the count. Sabagod with that kill. But right now, we do also see a bunch of the other members from Incipience perhaps trading. Not if Dip can help it.
He gets 2, but then does lose it to an Orb of Destruction from Cup, and the Cup is destroying full here for Incipience as they do manage to get so close to taking out the point. It's Samurai here. He's not going to get out a Tesla gun. That can't cut through a Transcendence. That doesn't work that way. A headshot can, but Depp doesn't quite find enough of them to hold that out for CHE.
And the amount of kills coming through for Cup there, the amount of ultimate charge overflowing his Cup, and Incipience pull out that extra Transcendence towards the end with the extra 2 kills, giving them the extra 4 minutes and now attempt to push on to B. It is not quite over. But even if Incipience cap here, it is unlikely. In fact, it will be near impossible to be able to match CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming.
They're playing the long game. Obviously, they've had a big switch here. We do see the GOATS composition come out from Incipience now. They really want to get those ultimates up and get on the point. That's where they can brawl with this dive composition of CAG.
I'd say this probably suggests they're playing more for a lot of results on this opening fight. A GOATS composition you'd usually see when you really want to get results immediately, and you're not really playing for those long game ultimates. That being said though, they're not finding a lot of early success here. Does get a trade onto Dep. GNX finding the second one onto Claire. Tayo did have that blade in the background, didn't quite get any kills, but did force a lot of attention onto them while that attention was happening. The tanks on CAG were responding. Note that there still is a spawn advantage for CAG. And they're gonna need it.
If they wanted results straight away, they're certainly getting them. AVRL, Incipience, they have managed to build up a lot of those ultimates within the first fight. That's certainly not a long time. And CAG now struggling to stay in this. The Coalescence comes out. The Monkey won't be able to stay up with that in the way. If any of them come on here, they can get pressured off by that. I was about to say the self-destruct, but I think that's what CAG are doing.
Graviton Surge, Earth Shadow for the security there as well, the insurance play from Ambition. So it's not going to be able to quite match the time of CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming, roughly a minute behind. We are going to get to the stage now where if CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming do lose Temple of Anubis, they will unfortunately have to go back and think about what could have been a full A hold that they do not complete. We're so close to finishing that point as well. So close.
I thought you weren't about the hindsight, AVRL.
This one's regret.
Can't
regret for CAG.
Can't regret if you don't look back, mate. And that's certainly what Incipience are doing right here, because they're not worrying about the other couple of losses they've had this season. They know that their season is on the line. We've said it's unlikely that they're going to get through to the playoffs. We said it's unlikely that they could win this matchup tonight, but it's not impossible. And it starts with a win here against CAG. They've taken one map already, and now with the first attack, they can look to make their mark and get their way towards that win.
So here's the interesting thing to consider right now, where point A was where most of this action happened, especially for Incipience, being that it did take them the full 4 minutes to get that cap across the line. CAG now only have to hold for 2 minutes 22 seconds. They've held for nearly twice that amount, So you'd think that CAG could absolutely complete this defense.
30% tire charge for Tayo, just for getting that trap onto the Reinhardt there. It's going to be an early tire, could be coming out from the DPS player, 60% already.
And you only need a few fight wins defensively to get this going, and Depp's going to equalize very quickly there, getting the kill into Bubble Kitty.
He's already got
actually a lot of damage lost from Incipience, a lot of damage gained for CYCLOPS at the game. Like you said, Taya coming into effect, Xenofly DMX because of it. One kill, but one kill's all you need for this defense to really start rolling. Everyone else now getting the ultimate charges up. Look at Claire, look at Depp, Infrasight about to go up as well.
Now they've got to get on the point.
Incipients are on the point. CYCLOPS at the gaming also need to be there. Cupper's had enough healing to actually collect himself a coalescence. Incipients are still losing members.
Ambition, his shield must have been down. The Diva Bomb drops right next to him and he's unable to help himself, just helplessly looking at that in the corner.
Tire again.
Fearless is there with the sound barrier to keep Incipience in this fight. A second tire for Tayo in under a minute. Incredible scenes here from the Junkrat player from CAG.
I gotta tell you, from the floor right now, it's a big mess on Temple of Anubis A. As CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming once again will collect a large string of kills, but not without losses of their own. That was a hard-fought struggle for CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming to continue, and because of it, nearly a full cap was had, 94.5 for Incipience.
Yep, so that's a win condition already straight up there for Incipience. Bubble Kitty, he's trying to work out what his win condition is. He's swapping so many heroes tonight. Now he's onto the Reaper to see how that goes for him. And I don't think it's working out any better than the other.
Yeah, he's swapping back to spawn is what he's doing right now, and Tayo's going to make sure Fearless joins him. More members, straight back you go, 25 seconds remaining. Whatever members are alive from Incipience just have to look to regroup, and that is easier said than done because Depp is looking for more kills. Already gets a headshot. Ambition has no life to work with. A reflect onto Depp from Bubble Kitty could be the saving grace.
Okay, 10 seconds left here. Bubble Kitty going in. He's anywhere near a Dragon Blade, so he's not going to have that extra dash to get onto the point. A self-destruct is going to try and push them off. This time the shield is there for Ambition, and he is getting healed up by Coalescence. A great self-destruct kill will get onto Claire, and this is CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming looking like they're going to lose point A.
Oh no, they didn't quite get to use either the Transcendence or that Reptile. Things just fall apart at the final hour. We've seen this twice in a row.
Okay, so now they've got the Lucio speed boost. Look how quickly they're getting onto this second point, AVRL. They can be there before CAG can.
We do need to now see this high coming out as well as the Transcendence. It is the only way for CAG to continue this defense.
It gets nothing.
They need to be able to get a lot more. Transcendence will buy them time, but time they have to get kills. GNX does not get to use the whole hog. We'll wish that he did. Ambition will have to be the one to look now because Air Shatter has to be the ability that gives them this attack, has to be the ability that saves them this attack. Coalescence coming into play. Shatter did come down, but doesn't connect only onto Tayo, it seems. That's not going to be quite enough. CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming, they lost A twice in a row when they should have been able to defend, but now they will finally full hold onto B. There will not be enough members from Incipience to continue this push.
GNX had his whole hog up there quite early, actually. Now, when you're getting low on health on Roadhog, it's a very bad idea to use that. You really just become a sitting target. It's so easy to headshot him. Pretty much. But if he had used that perhaps a little bit earlier in the fight, I'm not too sure exactly when he got it up. Perhaps he could have pushed them back off the point and really started to allow those ultimates to accumulate. We saw that they did get both supporter ultimates up, but it was a little bit just too far towards the end of the fight to make the difference Incipient needed to get point B. Nonetheless, they still have taken a point. Okay, they concede a whole point and there'll still be a draw.
And that is huge. That is huge because if CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming do not get that 1/3 tech onto B, it will be a draw. As long as CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming can cap A, they can get a minimum result of a draw, if not a win. But the problem now becomes 3 minutes 21 with only 30 seconds additional time, leaving 3:51 total for the entire map to get it done. We've seen that done. We've seen that done from other teams, but this is a time bank scenario. And Incipients, because they capped A, have given themselves such a good chance to fully hold and win this map. CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming twice now, and I have to go back to this, I have to stress, twice they could have full held A, twice they have failed right as the overtime comes in.
And A, that's the key, isn't it, here? How quickly CAG can get through point A will determine what opportunities they have to get number B. It's Bubble Kitty going around the back here, and so once again on that Widowmaker.
I do want to say this is quite a brittle
dive.
defense from Incipience. Full dive from them, and a reasonable dive from Cyclops after getting most of a dive in this way. The reason I say brittle is because Depp has a lot of low HP targets to attack, and not a lot of shields to break through. So for Incipience, they have to get a lot of fights in a row and be very quick about this deny. A lot of space, deny, a lot of sight lines. And Bubble Kitty taking a ton of damage is not where you want to be.
Looks like CAG. Oh, they don't manage to
Wins that anime
his
fight.
bubble, but Depp, he's certainly doing some good damage there. Up on the arch, just perched, and oh no, they can't get to him, but Bubble Kitty.
Oh, that was a shot. I do want to say every kill Depp gets, every single kill that CAG gets as a team is worth so much more than what Incipients are getting, because Incipients have a much longer respawn distance. CAG, if they can regroup quickly, they can take advantage of all of these kills they just got.
Bubble Kitty playing with fire. We've seen him go down low so many times, but then also pick up a flurry of kills after that. Several multi-kills coming out from the man who's had a bit of a slow start to this series, honestly. He's finally showing up here when it really matters on Temple of Anubis, when the chips are down.
Only 2 minutes now remaining to cap out A. Should be enough time. Keyword is should, because Tayo does go down. Rez should be available, but Rez now unavailable because Claire also getting taken down. Cyclops after Gaming can still make this happen if they can collect the kills, but so far they are losing so many members. Incipients have read the rotation, and they themselves have counter-rotated to intercept where Cyclops Athlete wanted to go, and because of that they will complete this defense, or at least this one fight. And they got a lot of ultimates.
Yeah, and importantly, Fearless does get the res onto Cup at the end there. If he hadn't, the Zenyatta, obviously a very slow character, would have taken a long time to get back to the point, and I was just trying to work out, was Fearless going to have the opportunity? He doesn't get shut out by CAG, and now Incipients, with a minute 20 left, have 5 ultimates ready to go. Sure, CAG are trying to build up a whole bunch of theirs so they can make a big push of their own, but they're going to have so many to deal with.
Yeah, and that's a first kill that will likely be hard to res as well. Early Dragonblade coming through, not going to waste any time. Bubble Kitty looking for a lot. Not going to find a lot, going to find possibly his own death if he's not too careful. Gets in the face of a couple of tanks. Claire should be able to come back soon. Depp's already back into the fray. And of those 5 ultimates that Incipients had, 1 was already down for the count, and now CAG are looking for their own 5.
So, 1 ultimate used there, Bubble Kitty with the Dragon Blade. They are trying to get all of them up. They're not going to have the Inspire early enough to give them extra armor going into this fight, at least at the start. Fearless pops an early Valkyrie to make sure he's out of harm's way. So does Claire.
Well, so both teams now know what is up. Stakes are high. This should go into the overtime. Every single kill will count. Every single early pick could swing the game in any team's favor currently. Self-destruct. Whoa! Collects 2 and hugely onto Claire as well. That means no resurrection. Depp has to go huge. Kimura has to go huge. Cyclops at the Gaming have their work cut out for them, and they are doing the work right now. 4 kills, 5 kills, 6 even with the D-Mech Xenofly. How have they done this? They've recovered from a huge deficit, and they will cap A.
But Cup goes down with the Transcendence. He went down first. He didn't use it to save the rest of his team. At least that means he's got that for the next point. 30 seconds, remember, they don't have long to come through here. It's a single fight for CAG to try and get ahead in this series.
And this is now CAG's game to win. They've set themselves up to be able to get the distance. The rally did come into effect as well. A lot of armor to play, but Incipients do have these ultimates. If CAG don't get it, they will draw.
The only one they have is the Dragon Blade, though, and that can be counted out with Cup's Transcendence. This is the only tool. And Cup, it has to get back there in time.
Yeah, he's got to make it in time if this is going to be effective. And it's going to be a counter Dragon Blade coming out from Bubble Kitty. So far more successful than Tayo's. In fact, Tayo goes down to the Primal Rage. This does not look like a cap. This does not look like it will be successful for Cyclops Athlete Gaming. Incipients will surely hold. Incipients will be able to do this. Will force the draw. And Cyclops Athlete Gaming, again, are going to have to go back to the drawing board and consider what could have been the regret after realizing that 2 A points they failed to hold. Now look at that. We're 1-1 in the series. Third map is a draw. It could not be tighter in terms of the scoreline right now.
It couldn't be. It's 1-1-1. A draw, a win, a loss for each of these teams going into Game 4. It's not the series we expected.
A 1-1-1 and a 0-0 on Anubis, which means nobody wins. Nobody wins when we draw. Everyone is sad.
Why can't they both win, AVRL? I want a sticker for each team.
A draw means everyone loses. So. Both teams are losers in this case. No, but seriously,
what a way to look at life.
It's yep. That's how it works here. It does make the rest of the series very interesting because going into Escort now is actually going to... You can't tie an Escort, so it will end up being the last map. So actually, whoever wins this will take the lead, and you will get a 2-1 victory in the series.
I mean, you can technically, but it's very unlikely.
I suppose, but it's probably not going to happen. So it does mean, this is the decider. We have gone to our fourth map decider.
Absolutely. Escort will be the determining factor in whether CAG continues their dominance of Group A, or will Incipience make probably the biggest upset we've seen yet in Pacific Contenders.
May even be the biggest upset overall in Contenders, because nowhere globally would you expect a last place team in the group in week 4 beating the #1 place team in the group. That just really shouldn't be happening.
If you look around in Contenders, you know, there's 12 teams obviously fighting it out in each region. There is usually tiers within that. There is usually quite a gap from the top of these groups to the bottom of these groups. So it's almost, it's just a huge feat if anyone in that position with no wins in week 4 could take out the top.
And here's the thing. The caveat here for Incipience, and I think the one thing we haven't given them enough credit for, which has been kind of brought up slightly, is of course they do have a couple of new members, but we have to remember the early losses, the early showings from Incipience was on their original roster. They didn't have Ambition in yet, they didn't have GNX in yet. They also had members on different positions. Savage Dab was on the main tank, Ambition is now onto the main tank. And you have a lot of these sort of swap outs. You had at the start of the season Metallics as a DPS player, now no longer on the team. He's been kind of replaced both kind of by Ambition and also by GNX. Bubble Kitty's also playing a lot more games now as well. So it has been a bit of a season of discovery for this team, and it may have taken Incipience 4 full weeks to figure out what combination works and what they need to do. But if it has taken them this long, it appears like they have figured it out.
I mean, with a name like Savage Dab, he really does deserve to get benched.
69, I might add. The only thing he's missing is the _XX.
You were disgust. Like, what a name! What a name! And obviously, he had the player to back it up, didn't he?
Yeah. No
longer here, and the team seemingly a lot better off without him. This is it's just been wonderful to watch Incipience.
What did he do to you? No, I'm sure he's a fine
gentleman.
I'm sure he is a fantastic gentleman and has served his team well. Let's take a look at the next map, though, because that is coming up now. We're going to make this one second of the evening, another Rialto. And it is going to be somewhat concerning for Incipience. The reason for that being, it's another good Widow map, and look, if Depp gets any room to play with, things go bad for Incipience very quickly. And the other thing that is somewhat of an issue is, it may not be an issue, but it is now some speculation, is we've seen 2 maps now in the series, both Eichenwalder and also Temple of Anubis, where we have some very solid defense from old Cyclops at the game. Not just talking about 8-point holds here, but overall across both maps, some very solid defenses, where both times on 2 maps you expected a full hold. This time on Rialto, can Cyclops Athlete Gaming actually complete it? Because it seems so far that they are so good at all of the time they need to hold until the overtime.
It's a pretty awkward time to,
Which is,
to
yeah,
fall
it is
down,
the most
really,
awkward time to not complete the hold.
Yeah.
More awkward, I guess technically worse would be to not be able to do it at all in the first place. That would certainly be worse, but you'd like to think if you can do it 99% of the way, that extra 1% shouldn't be so much harder, but turns out it is.
Stop taking your feet off the pedals. I mean,
this could also be the other team, and I mean, Ambition is really, or rather not just Ambition, but the whole of Incipience are really, really pushing hard in those final moments, and a couple of really exciting things happening out for them as well. Cup with a huge amount of kills on Temple of Anubis. Let's not forget about that. Let's also not forget about the fact that Matt is now ready to go, so let's head straight into Rialto.
suitably excited. Hope that music's got you in the mood as we go over to Rialto here to determine the winner of this series. Incipience versus CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming has certainly been one for the books.
Let's also talk about the substitution here. Going to be seeing Anakin back into the mix, and the reason for that is if you are going to play Rialto, Anakin's got your Farah, so that's what you want.
And you know, Depp, despite being so dominant on this Widowmaker, like he hasn't stopped, right? When Incipients have been winning fights, he's still been getting 2 or 3 picks in the middle of it. There's just the rest of Incipients have been playing so well and outplaying CAG at those points that they can push past that.
Oh, GNX just barely missed a headshot and Depp. He's going to remember that one in his sleep tonight, going to keep him up awake at night. And for CAG, doesn't phase them. It's just another day. Walking forward right now, but it is an important day because this is match point for both teams.
It is. It's not their birthday, though. Incipients will feel like it is if they manage to take out the series here. That would certainly be a present for them. And wow, Ambition has already given up this choke point as look at how strongly charged up Kenmo Hororo is.
It's a bit of a problem for CYCLOPS, or rather Incipients, because as their main tank goes down, you see the rest of the tanks kind of split their positioning right there. Cup as the Roadhog decides to go backwards, Xenofly as the Diva decides to go forwards. Neither of those two players can support each other. Does get a bit of a trade towards the end there, but for CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming, closer spawns, cart's still moving, they're ahead.
They are. They do have one more opportunity here to take this, to stop the cart going at least, but it's going to be tough without Bubble Kitty. And Depth coming around the side here.
I am looking forward to that whole hog though. Here it comes, and is it doing enough damage? It's doing some work, but ultimately that will fall over, and Anakin just going to collect both those kills on the GNX as well. Earthshatter coming down from old Samurai. It's going to make sure no one else is going to be able to contest. Bubble Kitty will attempt to from long range, but it's just going to be an attempt. CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming make this first point look easy.
Yeah, they're a bit too far away for that Roadhog to do anything with his ultimate there. You know, some people just get into a bit of a mood, and you've just got to give them some space, you know? Give them time to get over it, and once the Roadhog finishes chewing out his shrapnel there, they have no problem whatsoever taking the first point. So an easy first point cap from CAG. They're not going to let this map go easily. 3
ultimates now available for CAG pushing into the second point. We're definitely waiting to see what happens at this next choke, because remember, Kenmo Hororo does have a grab, can be comboed up by this barrage as well. And where is it? We're looking for the sky raining down from above. It's rockets, it's hail, it's bullets, and it's Depth with a headshot onto Bubble Kitty. Does find a couple of response kills. It doesn't look like it will be enough. Sabagod actually went down with Transcendence here and may have been glad to not use it because this will be a fight win for CAG, but CAG also did have that combo and it was effective.
Yeah, the barrage didn't do a huge amount in the end. Ambition pretty much soaked up all of it with his shield. I think it can do about 3,000 damage at a maximum, so 2/3 of that will go onto the shield if you've got a fully primed one ready and in the way of it. Depp now with the infrasight, he'll be looking to stop these guys getting anywhere near the cart as it does roll up the final stretch now.
I heard that headshot, but Bubble Kitty felt it straight in the face, and right now Ursha coming down with Samurai again, finds Ambition, down you go. Transcendence, now that was the ultimate save from earlier coming up from Sabagod, and as Depp does get blown up by Xenofly, Self-Destruct gets resurrected almost as quickly. Incipients are trying their hardest to hold on to this point, but they are losing members quickly. They are losing members that are important for holding that front line. The tanks are down. That opens up that back line. The only member now effectively alive that can hold this is Cup, and he's not going to last very long.
They're losing members and they're losing ultimates. It actually looked like they thought they could hold there at the end, so we see them commit the Valkyrie, we see them commit some other ultimates, which means that this third point is going to be so ugly for them. CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming have so many ready to go.
We could be seeing a storm through the C point right now, and a lot of teams will fail to fully cap out Rialto, but it doesn't appear to be CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming. At least not yet. They may still fail to get this if Incipients can really find their feet, but they haven't done so for 2 points in a row.
Ambition now is looking for that Earth Shatter as he walks straight up to Samurai, who's looking for the same thing. It's Kenmo Hororo who can lock them into place with the Graviton Surge now as they push into the chapel.
We're looking to see where these 4 ultimates come into play. No, it's about to be 6, and Cup goes down. What coalescence? Not even going to be effective. Here comes their barrage. Where the forecast says it's going to be bad, it's going to be absolutely awful. Stay indoors, ladies and gentlemen. Incipients down for the count. Whole team is gone. And guess what? There's still 3 ultimates to go for CAG.
Yep, they've got an Earth Shatter. If anyone gets there in time, Samurai Rider might be able to lay them down before they even can. But Anakin,
no one.
He's going to shut them out with the rockets. GNX goes down, and so do the chances of Incipience now taking this series. That was a fearsome push from CAG. They just had momentum the whole way. Incipience never got started right from that first pick on the Orisa at that first corner. It just looked ugly from then on. 4
minutes and 34 seconds is how long they took to finish this match, which leaves them 3:26 remaining in their time bank. And I want to say again, I reiterate, most teams do not finish Rialto. And if you do, it is not with this kind of time bank. We spent a long time discussing how good CAG's defense was across the 2 maps we've seen earlier. We haven't yet talked about how good their offense could be. And this is what it looks like when it's good.
It looks pretty damn good, AVRL. That was a blisteringly fast pace set there. And are Incipience Usain Bolt, or are they just going to fall behind? I don't know if they've got the opportunity to take this one away from CAG. It's just such a great start. They'd need a huge push of their own, and then they'd have to go again. They'd need 2, essentially, to take this out.
We've also had discussion around this A point, how difficult it can be for attackers to get past this area. How easily sometimes you see the defense complete a hold here. And for CAG, they blitzed through it like it was nothing. They found that early kill onto Ambition when he was on the Marissa, and they just continue snowballing those picks. A whole hog from Cup did absolutely nothing. And for Incipience now, on their attacking run, based on the defense quality we've seen from CAG on Anubis, on Eichenwalder, you could say this could finally be their full hold that they've been looking for 2 maps in a row.
And they've got Anakin. We said he swapped to here because he is a Pharah player. And if he gets caught out of position, it might be quite hard to res him here for the defenders, but he's hopefully not going to get caught out, especially not when he's going up against a full dive team composition. It's going to be very hard for the Genji or the Tracer to do that much damage to him at this high of a range.
There's no snipers here either, which means everyone has their work cut out for them. Fearless and Cup especially have to be looking out for their heads. Depp is hungry, he's looking for kills, and he needs to add skulls to his collection. And for CAG's, lock up that front door if they can. Stop up the cart. Incipience looking for positioning on high ground.
Yeah, Incipients are looking for depth. That's what they're doing. They're trying to find where this sniper is. You see the tanks just sort of sitting on the point at the moment, waiting for them to engage on depth so that they can move out with a lot more safety.
Well, the problem is there's UAV in the sky for CYCLOPS at the game, which means Depp knows where his opponents are. Anakin flying in the sky is revealing that positioning right now. GNX still fires the headshots in the backline regardless, as Depp was found out of his hiding spot. But there will be cost to that. You want to take down Depp, we're going to lose a lot more members because of it. Sabagod, the other casualty here for CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming. And Claire got to choose to res that one, but as you see the confidence, choosing not to res Depp because they knew they were going to win, only resing Sabagod because Depp was already on his way back with a grappling hook, and Sabagod's playing a Zen, and well, Zen don't walk.
And it's always that trade-off, isn't it? When you want to go that deep to try and deal with a Widowmaker, you're going to expose yourself to risk on the way through. They do finally get depth, but it's too much by then. The rest of CAG are going to take them down on the way. Here we go, Depp going to have to deal with this, the Winston there, but the grab coming in from Kenma Hororo.
That's the long dive as well, followed up by the short Graviton Surge. And again, Cloudy with rockets. Does get a DMAC, does get Bubble Kitty. Oh, we are seeing some big members drop down for CAG, which means no Earth Shatter yet until Samurai can find the correct angle. Here comes Bubble Kitty though, and that Earth Shatter did pop eventually. But Bubble Kitty needs to find a lot of kills right now and has to already reseed that blade. Good news is, Kart is nearly there. Bad news is, Kenma Hororo is still alive and he's got 100 charge.
This is so hard for Incipience here. Oh dear, Kenma Hororo just pushing them back, laying down the damage on this Zarya. Bubble Kitty, I mean, he went down, then he got rezzed again, but he still wasn't able to do anything with that Dragon Blade. It was Cup's Transcendence that needed to do more.
I want to say as well, with the time remaining under 130 here, even if Incipience cap, they will not be able to match CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming's time. It simply won't happen. It's not factually accurate, but based on how we can see this defense operating, even if CAG once again, based on the current trend, somehow choke this A hold, it will not be enough for Incipience. That is the
well, it
unfortunate
seems like
scenario.
that is a very likely scenario at this point. Ken Mororo, they've waited long enough now that he's actually lost quite a bit of charge, but he's still at 20, so that means he can get back up to maximum
he swapped it for a grab.
very quickly. He actually bubbles onto the Winston bubble there, grabs onto the Winston bubble, and that doesn't really leave anywhere for Incipience to run to.
That's going to leave Cyclops Athlete Gaming with a string of kills. Nothing unexpected here. Business as usual on a Saturday evening for Cyclops Athlete Gaming or for Depp.
Oh no.
Cashing in that paycheck.
Oh.
It's big money for this man, boys, as the headshots start raining in again. More skulls to add to the collection. Collects a third. Gonna need to file a new cabinet here. Oh boy. Open up an account at IKEA because this man needs a new shelf for all these trophies he's got in his locker. 4 ultimates available, coming up to 5 for Cyclops Athlete Gaming.
Other
the
people
final
would,
attempt here for Incipience.
Other people would run scared with 2 tanks in their face, but not Depp. He's just making everything his. Amican blows them up with a triple barrage.
Cloudy with a chance of rockets, and it's going to be Bubble Kitty now responding. Double kill onto the blade, but Amican back into action. Ambition as well going down to Samurai. Here comes that late transcendence from Cup. Is it gonna be what Incipience did, or buy them time, but they need to get the kills? Cup collects Sabagod. We've seen this before. Cup, when he gets really dire scenarios, he can get those kills. Time to fill me up, baby. And Depp says, take a load of this. Take this down your throat. Cyclops Athlete Gaming still have members ready to go on this defense. Amican's back into the mix. CAG still have ability to be able to complete this hold. But it is getting hard.
It definitely is. GNX helping out Incipience with the pulse bomb there. He's giving them a little bit of hope here, but the grab from Ken Mororo is probably going to end that
That's
hope.
the one.
Send them back to the spawn. The barrage there from Amican is just a cherry on top there, really. A 2-1 win to CAG.
And their season will continue. Match score undefeated, but I gotta say, this has been their closest rub against defeat. And it's not comfortable, it doesn't feel good for them, but it feels a lot better for Incipience, who tried so hard, had a incredibly good series, I will admit.
It's a bittersweet moment, AVRL, because sure, they took it to the top team in Group B, but now we know that they can't make it through to the playoffs. It doesn't matter how good they look in the next week. They haven't got an opportunity. They are going back to trials whether they like it or not.
And that's the sad reality. I think what they can have is a bit of a memento, or a lot of mementos if you're looking about Depp's headshots there, a lot to remember him by. But the point is, with this series, they've really pushed the top dogs here. We did not expect CAG to lose this, and they have not. We also did not expect Incipience to push CAG to this limit, to push them to the absolute, I guess, the end of CAG's abilities. And I mean, when you got CAG backed up against the wall, you got a Rialto, Amican shows up, Depp shows up, the whole team is there. And suddenly, that was probably the most one-sided map of the whole night.
It was. 1.5 for Incipience there is a damn fine effort from those lads. And Depp, he did so much work on the Widowmaker. Even that one time where it looked like they might not cap out Anubis, he actually came in clutch on the Tracer as well. After that double kill from the Diva, that was the shining light coming through, the beacon of hope. But he extinguished it, snuffed it out so quickly.
Yep, the man's here to collect his victories. Don't get in his way. He's like the Grim Reaper here. He's knocking on your door. And Incipience, well, you got to open eventually. And I think we're at the stage now where Incipience have only got 1 more match to go in Week 5. And CAG also. And we've got 1 more match to go this evening. Week 4 is not quite over. Day 8 is not quite over. But when we come back, we're going back to Group A. It's Monster Shield Korea versus New Paradigm. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this break.